welcome to this edition of the Frost Jazz Hour right here on WDNA 88.9 FM. I'm your host, Marcello Corelli. I'm very happy to be the new host of this show for the time being. I have big shoes to fill, rather Charles Bergeron, Dr. Charles Bergeron has big shoes to fill. He's been a mentor of mine, and I'm really happy to have this opportunity to host the show. As you all know, every Thursday we feature performances from students, staff, or faculty, and alumni here at the highly acclaimed Frost School of Music. And today we are very delighted to have Professor John Hart with us today. He's had quite an illustrious career. He's had already over 10 records of his own, and he's been on over 100 records as a sideman. Worked with artists such as Brian Blade, Larry Goldings, Dr. Lonnie Smith, and so many more names. So it's just really an honor to have him on the show today. And so without further ado, John Hart. John. Sounds great, man.
Thank you.
All right, so great to have you here again. I'm honored to be interviewing you as your student. It's been great working with you in lessons this semester on off-instrument lessons, but just hearing you play that, just for our viewers, what were those tunes that you just played?
The first tune was Be My Love, which I don't know the composer, but of course made famous by Mario Alonso, we were just talking about. You don't hear it as much in the jazz, but there are some good, great versions. Keith Jarrett played it, that one comes to mind. And then I played, of course, Darn That Dream, which is one of the evergreens that hopefully we're all familiar with, one of the great Jimmy Van Heusen songs.
Yeah, that was really, really wonderful. And, hearing some of the reharmonization things you were doing in both of those tunes, I'm just very, very, it just blows my mind, the ideas that you have, not only reharmonization-wise, but rhythmically, the way you kind of play through all these standards in your own unique way. So I was curious, and maybe you could talk to us about the process that you go through as far when you reharmonize a standard or go through composing or all these different rhythmic ideas that you have. Like, how do you go about that stuff?
Well, it's something I've been working on my whole since I started really as a student. So, to go through it, I don't know if it's a question that would probably take maybe a couple semesters to answer in full.
I'm sure.
But part of it is just getting comfortable, learning the language. I think we talk about ear training a lot, and some of it is, you work on these different techniques, whether they be rhythmic or harmonic, but the whole idea is once it's in your ear, you're able to play it, and it becomes part of your language, and you become comfortable with it, and it becomes part of what you want to put out to the public, when you're playing. You can take a song like Darn That Dream, and I could also play it very straight and inside, and there's a beauty to that too. So I think one of the things that I've strived for as a musician my whole life is just to be able to have this expanding my language and have this ability to speak in all these different languages. So I can take a tune like that, and I have many different things to say on it, depending on how I want to interpret it. If I want to reharmonize it, I can. If I don't want to reharmonize it drastically or even a little bit, I can do that too, but with the same kind of, hopefully, musical impact that I would have with the more advanced harmonic approach.
Sure, yeah, no matter what, you're going to still make it sound like you, even if you're going kind of closer to the original changes, or you're still going to put your own twist on it naturally.
That's kind of the idea. I think that's what we're all striving for. I don't think that was ever a conscious decision early on. I mean, when I've started playing, I thought, okay, hopefully I have something original, because we all have something original. We're all unique individuals, but then I started copying people, and I read something from Clark Terry that was just summed it up that I thought was so great, and I hadn't heard about it. But he talked about learning how to play, and he said there's three parts to it. There's imitation, then assimilation, and then innovation. I thought it was very, very interesting, and I think that goes back to a lot of. We look at the jazz greats too. They all started with their heroes. If I looking at jazz guitar, if I look at Wes Montgomery specifically, there's a famous story that I've read about for years that Wes Montgomery, the very first gig he did, he played all Charlie Christian solos, note for note. That was his first gig. So.
Yeah, wow. I wanted to ask you one more thing, maybe before you play another tune. Obviously we're in the midst of a pandemic, and coming back to school has been a new normal, but we're lucky to be doing it, and I think the University of Miami has done a really, really good job with that. But could you talk about kind of the process and how you've been adjusting to this kind of new normal with the hybrid situation with classes, and talk a little bit about that.
It's been very challenging. We started last semester when we went completely on for about 6 weeks and taught all classes, whether they were lecture classes, ensembles, my advanced improv class, which is really a playing class. They all went online, and we really couldn't play live together. So we started to deal with the challenges of that, and I have to say, I'm very proud of my colleagues. I think we all really put 150% effort into it, but also the students were great. It couldn't have been, certainly a collaborative effort between students and teachers to make it happen. So the same thing is happening now. Now we have in-person and hybrid, and there's a lot of things happening that are different. Looking at a classroom of students with masks, but the great thing about being back in person is there's a lot of music being played now. One thing that I'm noticing that's outside of school, and I know you've been a big part of it. I'm coming over to teach on the weekends so I can meet my private students in large rooms, and there's music happening outside Saturday and Sunday with jam sessions with the jazz students setting up outside and playing together. When everybody was locked down, nobody could really play, and it's just great to hear that, and I think it's really what we need.
Definitely.
The more live music we have, and the more of that, it's really healthy, and so again, I think it's been a great collaboration between students and teachers to make it happen. We all hopefully have the same goals. You guys want to play better, and we want you to play better. So that's what we're all working on.
Yeah, and I think it's helping that, like you said, the outdoor jam sessions. And we've been doing more playing this semester than we have these last, at least for me, the last 3 years.
I know. I've observed that too. It's interesting. I think part of the having the initial lockdown, you start to realize what you've taken for granted, and suddenly what's missing in life. So that's nice to see that energy.
Yeah, it's been great. So, what are you going to play for us next as we go to the bottom of the hour?
I'm going to play "How Deep Is the Ocean" by Irving Berlin, another very well-known standard, which I reharmonized a few years back, and I recorded on my record Crop Circle. So I'm going to play that version.
Yeah, we played that in our lesson the other day. Just before he gets started, I just want to remind you that next week, right here at WDNA 88.9 FM, we'll have the Ben Taylor, Aaron Basundial group, and then the next week we'll have a rerun of Extensions performance, and then after that we'll have Brian Dubrow on October 29th. And moving forward, we'll have the Stamps Trio and the Dean of the Frost School, Shelley Berg, and the Josh Platt, a good colleague in front of mine. His group will come. So without further ado, here's John Hart playing How Deep Is the Ocean. Wow, that was great. So we'll take you to the bottom of the hour right here on WDNA 88.9 FM, the home of serious jazz. We'll be right back after a brief intermission. Welcome back to this edition of the Frost Jazz Hour right here on WDNA 88.9 FM. And we're here with a special guest, Philip Capuzzi, who is the host of the Latin Jazz Quarter that happens actually pretty soon at 12 p.m. And he's also the general manager of WVUM. So, Phil, we're going to talk a little bit about the collaboration between WVUM and WDNA, because I know this show is actually simultaneously casting on WVUM. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's really cool, Marcello. It's a pleasure to be in this space with you and share this experience. And yeah, it's been something I've been looking forward to for a long time. I've kind of had it in my head for a while. Obviously, so much incredibly happening musically at the University of Miami, and then over at the station we have so many things going on too. So just the ability to now, like you said, simulcast this stream to 90.5 as well as 88.9. It's an absolute pleasure and something that I'm so excited to set a precedent for, that we'll have in place really for hopefully the rest of time, even beyond our respective years at the university. It's so exciting. I could speak about it for hours about how happy I am about it. And the two stations I feel are pretty similar in energies. You know, lots of people here at WDNA have ties to WVUM, and in my opinion, the spirit of the two stations are pretty congruous. Like I said, just an absolute pleasure to see it come to fruition, and also in terms of collaboration between the stations in general. There's some really exciting things in the works that I can't speak to specifically yet, but just to hint at them, keep the listeners on the edge of the seat and keep them coming back, listening to WDNA, and we'll keep them updated with all those things as they become more solid. But yeah, it's amazing really to be able to spread this music, spread this community to more people. It's an absolute honor, and like I said, something that I'm just so happy about.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, because the Frost School of Music hasn't really been discovered by too many people around the rest of the university, so I think this collaboration could really, help expose this music to like a larger group of people, because they need to know what's going on at Frost. I mean, we have something special, so I think this collaboration is going to really help with that. I mean, I've done a few things. I'm sure you've also done some sports stuff with WVUM, with the baseball team. Just kind of making those relationships, building relationships with people outside of Frost and kind of introducing them to this. I'm sure it's pretty exciting. Yeah,
well, everything kind of intertwines, and you and myself are kind of in the same boat. I know you were involved with sports desks at the school too. The intersections of music and radio, I think, are kind of inherent, especially within the WDNA and WVUM culture. But to your point, at the University of Miami, not too many people are really hip to what's happening at Frost, despite how incredible it is. So, like you said, to present this to more people and to reach more people, really the benefits are endless, and it's absolutely amazing, and it speaks to kind of the mission of both stations, and how important supporting this music, and especially in recent times, to support everything that's going on from the musician side, and to give that space and that platform for musicians to spread their word, and spread what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I look forward to this collaboration and maybe hearing you play a little bass on there too, because I know you're a great musician also. So, but thanks for joining us, Philip. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you so much. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, all right. So before we get back to the music, just want to remind our viewers that next week we'll have a good friend of mine, Ben Taylor, and Aaron Basundio, their group will play. Then the week after that, Extensions will have a rerun. October 29th, we'll have Brian Dubro's group, who I've played with. He's an amazing musician, guitar player. I actually studied with Professor Hart. And November 5th, we'll have Stamps, the Stamps Trio, which I'll actually be performing in myself. And then we'll have the Dean at the Frost School of Music, Shelley Berg, with us. So we're gonna bring some more music now, as we have Professor John Hart with us. Has had an illustrious career as a sideman and a leader. So let's leave it to you, John. Yeah, John. It was great. For our viewers, what tunes did you just play there?
Oh, that was For All We Know.
Beautiful.
Beautiful old standard by J. Fred Coots. We don't hear that one much around campus, but it's a classical tune recorded by many different people. Billie Holiday, and Lady. Satin's one recording that pops to mind immediately, but great tune.
Yeah, great tune. So, a couple questions here. You've worked with many, many artists you worked as a leader, as a sideman, recorded a lot. Artists like Chris Potter, Brian Blade, Jimmy Smith, Larry Goldings, all these great artists. I was just curious about, what you enjoy doing more right now in your career. Do you enjoy working as a sideman more or as a leader? Because I know they both have their ups and downs.
I think yeah, like you say, I think, I don't know if I have a preference with either. I think maybe working as a leader is probably the most, I get the most satisfaction, but it's also the most challenging because to work as a leader means you have to pick up the telephone and get gigs, be able to do that. And, I was fortunate, especially in my career in New York, to be working all the time playing very creative music, so I didn't feel as compelled to have to book my own band all the time. I've actually been recording more since I've come down here and I'm teaching now. I think maybe some of the pressure of having to just go out and play gigs every day to make a living has given me a little bit more time to be able to concentrate on doing that. And I've been recording a lot. I think I put out about 5 records maybe since I've been down here. I have a new one. It's out right now, Organ Trio with Gary Versace and Andy Watson. I have a record in the can that's going to come out in February with Gary Smolian and
Wow.
Gary David Wong on bass and Andy Watson also on drums. So
Yeah.
sideman projects I've been working with Brian Blade's Life Cycles, which is a band that was together almost 20 years ago, and he put it back together, and we did a new record that will probably be coming out pretty soon. I know they're working on mixing it. We recorded it a while ago. Of course, a lot of those projects are sidelined in terms of being able to tour and stuff with them, so that's a little frustrating. I have some interesting gigs and recording projects I've been doing in the last few years, but we're not able to really work or no gigs right now. So.
Right, yeah, but you have a lot of projects in the works here, and I heard you play with the Life Cycles group.
Oh, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That was an amazing performance, and I'm looking forward to the release of that record. With me, I actually have John's record, Act 3, with Gary Versace and Andy Watson, great drummer. It's on Steeplechase, and for those of you that don't know, John actually, he's with Blue Note Records. Not a surprise to me, but he signed with them in 1990, around there, and he's also done some things with Concord Records and Zoho. He's got over 10 records as a leader, and just looking forward to the new music that he's putting out. I was also going to ask, because you go back and forth in New York a lot, from here to New York and back, and you do a lot of recording and gigging, or before this new normal, obviously. How do you balance that? How do you balance this life as a musician, a travel, touring, recording artist, with your life as a teacher here at the university? Because you're present all the time here. So how do you balance that?
It's a balancing act. So you might have to teach all day and then get up at 4 in the morning and get on a plane and then get up at 4 in the morning 2 days later, so you can get back to be at your first class in the morning. So there's some of that. We are fortunate to have not only to have the flexibility to be able to travel some, but we're also encouraged. The dean wants us out there playing also, and I think that's very important. For the students too, to have teachers that are actually engaged and performing and busy and very relevant, the field and stuff. So that's encouraged. But then, you know, if you have to take a tour for 2 weeks, that's a lot of rescheduling and stuff. So it's tricky, you know. But it's so far it's worked. I haven't been in a situation where I really don't feel like I've been restricted on being able to perform. You know, I think I've been able to find a good balance. But I'm also very dedicated to my job here at University of Miami, and I find it as creative as performing too. So that I don't feel like I have the need to be out playing all the time. I'm getting a lot back from, you know, not only from you know, being able to mentor young people, but I'm getting it back from on my own from the creative side. I feel very creatively fulfilled doing that. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you do a lot of playing with your students, you know,
I love
and
playing
it's
with
just,
my
it's an amazing thing. I mean, because not a lot of teachers do that. It's just kind of the one-on-one, like, lecture style, like, this is, work on this, bring it in, but it's more like you come in and you're just interacting and making music, and I think that's the best learning, best way to learn as a musician, especially for me. So that's really great. Yeah. So yeah, let's hear some more music. What else? What else?
I'm going to play all
like
the
to
things
play?
I think everybody knows it.
Yeah, great standard.
And if we have more, I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll play till the end.
Yeah, you know, we got a little bit more time, so I mean, you know.
I'll just keep playing and tell me when to stop.
All right, yeah, put up my hand, I don't know, but
And I might still keep playing.
We'll keep them playing there.
right. Well, I'll say no more, John Hart. Let's give us some more music. That was great. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. We're going to take you to top of the hour.